menee maaliin! Niin Sebastian ja tekee sen maalin!
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of the ECL Elite Division Season 12 right here on NHL Gamer. My name is Tukey, joined as always by my broadcast partner. It is one Sin for the win. And Sin, we have talked about it all season long, how wild and unpredictable it has been, and I am sure we are in store for another night of unpredictable action.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. We saw it last week, a brawl at the end of the game between Philadelphia and HREDS. If you're following us on Twitter, you would have seen it as well, even if you missed the broadcast. So make sure you're doing that, at least following NHL Gamer on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, what could have been, what we probably would have predicted to be an elite of the elite matchup here, HAVU Gaming, Jyväskylä starting off, maybe not quite so much, as Jyväskylä still kind of struggling.
Expect the unexpected was the word, and indeed we will see that today as number one ranked HAVU Gaming take on Jyväskylä, and of course a little bit later on in this broadcast, a battle between two teams with playoff aspirations as Färjestad take on Vesapampa. Not the only action that Färjestad have been involved in today, though. As you can see, they'll be taking on Kova Esports while we cover this first series. So a continually ongoing developing story that we're seeing here. Other interesting actions in Tunnel Vision and Rusty Blades, the two bottom teams right now in the Elite Division. And actually, we'll get you a look here at the standings as well. But those two teams there, you see on the right-hand side of your screen, going head-to-head, that matchup could very well decide who ultimately ends up in that automatic relegation spot down in 16th. And then, of course, elsewhere, you saw HREDS were going to be in action today, looking to make the most of those games at hand that they have on HAVU, same as Philadelphia. And then, Sin, we've talked about it every broadcast, how crazy it is as you look at how close the race is between third place HREDS on 21 points, and then even just 16 points between, Vesapampa, Northern Ascendancy, and Kova down in those first few spots on the outside looking in. We still have a long way to go in this 30-game regular season.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it time and time again. One series can alter the course of your season. And if you pick up a big 4 points, if you're, Vesapampa, Northern Ascendancy, Kova, you're jumping into, fourth, disregarding other points that people may pick up in there. But, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And, I mean, you saw it with the Rusty Blades Tunnel Vision. That's sort of like a small sample size of how big those matchups can be when you're with someone next to the standings. For them, it's more of, a survival, trying to stay out of that automatic relegation. But for everyone else, if you're playing a team close to you in the standings, it is huge implications.
Absolutely. Again, it's not just the playoff spots that we focus on, it's those relegation battles as well. But that said, let's get down to business here and talking about our first matchup of the day. Again, HAVU, as you saw, currently atop the league standings. They'll be taking on Jyväskylä, a perennial playoff team until this season, perhaps, and currently with a losing record of 7-8-1. And I think you can see a big part of the reason as to why, especially compared to a team like HAVU, that goals against number is staggering compared to what we would have expected.
Yeah, I mean, a historically great defensive team. Jyväskylä made some roster changes, which we thought, oh my God, this is great. They're getting Yoki on this team. It's like you put together this great team on paper, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, what's not quite working? And that's still what Jyväskylä is seemingly trying to figure out here.
Absolutely. So with that, let's get you a look at the lineups here as we continue to set the stage for this matchup. For HAVU, it is really the lineup you would expect, at least in terms of the skaters. Polanco, Dominointi, and the captain Flyer Kungan. J. Toro and Nasastelia on defense. It'll be Sibelius between the pipes today. We knew Sin this season that they would go with a tandem alongside Hans Solinho. Sibe 7-1 on the season so far, so you can't exactly go wrong. On the flip side for Jyväskylä, you mentioned him, Joki, of course, coming over from H-Reds this year, centered by Antti and the captain Indy on the right-hand side, Sile and Amari on defense, Sandro between the pipes. Let's talk about the centers first and foremost, as we always do. Dominointi and Antti, and there is a drastic difference in point production so far between these two centers.
Yeah, so I mean, it can't really be overstated there. I mean, that point differential is pretty massive, but kind of have to set that aside. Think of it's more of a symptom of Jyväskylä's performance as a team. So you kind of ignore that. Look at, okay, what's this center matchup going to be? Still pretty kind of even. I mean, they're both more assist guys than anything. Face-off percentages essentially dead even, 47.3 and 47%. So neither one of them really dominating the dot, and in fact losing more of their the higher percentage of faceoffs that they've taken. So, it's really going to, again, come down to who can kind of get the edge in this matchup today and give their team that possession edge. Because both of these guys, when they get possession, can be extremely strong. In HAVU, I mean, most of their attack comes from that possession of those down-low cycles. So Antti really going to have to try to counteract that.
Looking at the winger battle here, of course, for HAVU, Puwanzo and Flyer Kungen living up really to the reputation that they have with their production. But on the flip side, it's Joki and Indy who really have struggled based off of the skill set that they possess. And I think that's fair. You look at Joki right now, the 22 points in 16 games. He's on a 41-point pace. Last year, he had 78 points, 32 goals in a full 30-game regular season. So it's clear, while that was a massive pickup, there are some chemistry issues that just haven't been worked out yet between the front three of Jyväskylä so far this season, and it's starting to become a concern.
Yeah, it absolutely is a concern. I mean, you probably would have expected to see Joki leading the team in points, but just the sheer volume of points that he has just does not seem up to standard. And then you look across the ice right there, Puwanzo and Flyer Kungen. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Puwanzo coming back onto this team, 21 goals is huge. Flyer Kungen is just probably one of, if not the best forecheckers in this. I mean, Jyväskylä really has their work cut out for them in this matchup.
Looking at the blue line battle here as well for HAVU, J Toro and Nasu Stelia. On the flip side, Sile and Ilmari. The acquisition of J Toro being brought back from Philadelphia, he has lived up to that reputation that he has in terms of being an elite production defender here in the elite division. But on the flip side as well, we know Amari is capable of it, and we've seen it from him with those 16 points in as many games.
Yeah, I'd say this matchup is the closest one between any of the individual matchups here in these games today. I mean, Sile Ilmari not too far behind points wise and pace wise of J Toro and Nasu Stelia, so they've at least got that going for them. If you're Jyväskylä, you're going to look for all the tiniest little positives, all the little building blocks you can build up. Say, okay, well, our defense is helping create offense. What can we do around that? How can we build up around that to make this team start working?
And with that, of course, our final head-to-head that we always look at, it is the two goaltenders, Sibelius versus Sandro. And Sin, as mentioned, Sibe has been phenomenal this season so far. A near 84% save percentage, where Sandro, again, not quite where you would expect him to be. That measuring stick for top-notch goaltenders in the elite division, typically at around that 80% mark. And again, for Sandro, it just hasn't been there. And, it might be a little bit surprising heading into the season what you would expect for him to be able to do as one of the longest tenured goalies as a season one original here. I mean, last year he had that 80% save percentage, hasn't finished with a below 80% save percentage since season 9. So basically you look over the past few years since he's been on Jyväskylä, he's on pace right now for his worst season yet.
Yeah, and that's pretty surprising. But once again, I mean, you can almost attribute it to the team performance as a whole. I mean, he has 2 shutouts in 10 games played. That's a pace where if he played a full season, he gets 6 shutouts. That's pretty good. I mean, that would usually put your team in a position to win, a lot of games, but also get that save percentage much, much closer to that 80%. So it's kind of like a great game with the team. And then, they go up against one of those teams like H-Reds we saw earlier on, and they get absolutely stomped. So, this matchup kind of interesting. Both these goalies are capable, so we're going to have to see which one wants to make those big saves at the big moments.
As we always do here, just a few moments before puck drop, we'll take a look at the keys to success that have been pointed out for these two teams. We'll start off with what HAVU needs to look to do today. Sin, what stands out for you here with the current league leaders?
Well, the first one here, I mean, they got to pour it on. HAVU right now is leading the league in shots. And here, they're coming up against a struggling Jyväskylä squad. So what they're going to want to do is keep putting that pressure on, keep them on their heels. Don't let them up off the mat, so to speak. The second point is, have you seen this duo, Sibelius, getting the nod in net today against his former team? And his numbers are quite impressive, especially considering that he is what you could technically call the 1B in this situation. But it's rare to have a goaltender duo as elite as Hansu and Sibe, but HAVU have it. And then the third point here is D-men do it better. Jay Toro leading all defensemen in goals, which is, impressive enough on its own. But in this matchup, he also has more goals than 3 different forwards. That is even more impressive. I mean, you're going to have to watch out for him at all times to be a goal-scoring threat.
So with that, of course, as well, we'll take a look at the points here for Jyväskylä. And Sin, you know what? I'll throw it back to you again. Why not? What stands out for you when it comes to these teams? You got to save. I got a feeling this is going to be a barn burner. You got to save up the voice here for the upcoming action.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a bit less positive than it is for the HAVU side, but it's got to be said, this is no longer just a bad start. Jyväskylä not having the season that they would like to have. If there's ever a time to turn it around and prove that you can be a playoff contender, it's right now against this HAVU gaming squad. The second point here is playing the body. Sile on the back end accounts for over 1/3 of all of his team's hits. If he can help turn that physical pressure into, large neutral zone turnovers, feed a counterattack of Jyväskylä with Yoki up front, his propensity to sort of get free on the rush, it can really help generate some offense for a team that has been struggling to get that offense. And the third and final point here is identity crisis. Jyväskylä, they used to be known as the best defensive team when they came in a couple seasons ago. They literally had the best defense. They finished number 1 seed. This season, they're still kind of struggling to find an identity. They don't have a great special teams. They have a negative goals for, goals against ratio, and time is really running out to get going here. This is such a huge matchup for them, not only in the standings, but for their psyche as well.
So we'll see how it all plays out here in just a matter of moments. The team's just about ready to go for the first game of 2. And again, a reminder a little bit later on in this broadcast, Färjestad take on Vesapampa. An interesting matchup there as well. So stay tuned, buckle up for an interesting night of action. Sin, the main talking point here has been the struggles of Jyväskylä. For HAVU, though, as well, a little bit of pressure on their shoulders here, knowing that Philadelphia and H-Reds are right behind them with games at hand. And we saw how important that was last season when we got into the playoffs. You look at Philadelphia securing that number 1 seed, and I don't want to say they coasted all the way to the finals, but they had the easier road, and they made the most of it. Whereas for HAVU or H-Reds, they had to go through one another, and H-Reds ultimately did make it past HAVU. So the seeding here matters so much at the top, just like it does really anywhere else in the league table, to see how it all plays out. So very intrigued to see how it plays out. And again, we should be good to go here in a few moments, but you talk about the pressure on both sides of the ice here. It's interesting, right? That old saying of pressure creates diamonds, right? Well, we'll see who's able to kind of rise to the occasion here. And it looks like we have an extra couple of seconds before we get into the game. So a quick reminder here, we'll take a look at the top 10 scorers right now in the league as well, because obviously we will see some HAVU representation. We'll see some FBK representation as well when we see them in action a little bit later. But Sin, right now, for the most part, I mean, as expected, Eki, Playmaker, 2 of the top 3, but it's been that H-Reds offense as well. It's just been absolutely staggering.
Yeah, all 3 of them up there, all 3 of HAVU's forwards up there as well. So, from the more parity that we saw in the beginning of the year from the top 10 skaters, it's really kind of, shaking out to just be, the top, the big 3 now. FBK trying to make that a big 4. They have, 2 great scores, but the record, they're kind of still still struggling to get going in that regard. But yeah, just so much talent in this division, and these teams. I mean, it's just ridiculous what some of these players can do with the puck in their hands.
And why not share some of the focus on the goaltenders as well here, since we have a second Hanselinho at the top of the board. But again, Sibelius between the pipes here in this matchup. And Sin, I mean, you look there, like we said, the elite of the elite have at least that 80% save percentage. The fact that HAVU have 2 of the top 5 is just absolutely, I mean, fantastic for them. And one of our talking points for the next game coming up, Mr. Allsvenskan up there for Rookie of the Year already right now. Top 3 in save percentage. He actually won't be in action today. So, again, you talk about the continuing developing stories on a game-to-game basis, let alone a day-to-day basis. It's been everything we expected the season to be, which is a complete toss-up from a moment-to-moment perspective.
Yeah, and what's really impressive here is you look at that top 5. Everyone in there has a positive ratio of wins to losses, and some by quite a large margin. Or if you're Kappe, you have no regulation losses. Then there's Sapriks up there with the 500 record and a near 83% save percentage. I mean, it's actually just pretty ridiculous what he is able to do, and keep his team alive in games. I mean, we've mentioned it time and time again, every time we've covered him, just such a talented goaltender. And, we've said it, Northern Ascendancy, they're going to have to get something going, or one of these larger teams will be definitely making an offer for Sapriks.
I mean, sitting here talking about outstanding, right? When you first started that sentence, I thought you were going to mention YMCA's meme game on Twitter that we saw earlier today, but talking about Rookie of the Year potential as well, Benna right now in second for YMCA as an elite rookie. Sin, I mean, you look back to last year, I'll point out the Nordic Stars from Season 11 down in the Pro Division. You have Benna coming up. He's been phenomenal. Yerax and Vera stepping up as well into the Elite Division this year. Shout out to last year's Nordic Stars, an absolutely phenomenal contingent there that have made the jump up to the Elite Division. So again, we'll see more of our top-notch talent in this Elite Division coming up in just a few moments. We might have a player who's been AWOL here trying to figure out when these two teams are going to match up to kick off the action here tonight. And it looks like we are just about good to go. So, Sin, I mean, as I always do when we're kind of short on talking points, really, let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. When we're short on talking points, yeah. How do you see this going? I mean, this is arguably the biggest series of the season right now for Jyväskylä, because if you drop points here, potentially, I mean, you're already 3 points back of Savo, who have played as many games. Poggers as well, currently neck and neck with Savo in those 7th and 8th spots. You really can't afford to slip up right now if you're on the bubble of just being on the outside looking in.
Yeah, in normal situations, I'd probably, with the records in hand, forget the team names, I'd almost be willing to say HAVU is going to 2-0 this. But we've seen at times, and when HAVU, sometimes they just come out flat. And they seem to want to play to the system. The second they can't play to their system, they almost seem lost at times. I mean, they're such a talented squad, but if they get thrown off their game, sometimes for them to get that back can be difficult. So if Jyväskylä is able to gain some kind of early advantage, if they've done their homework, if they have, kind of a strategy to counteract the system that HAVU likes to play, I could very easily see this going in the favor of Jyväskylä. And, as desperate as they are for points, I mean, we said it. Now's the time to get going. Prove that you can hang with the big dogs still.
There you go. You got to look at the teams in the lobby right now. Sin, no controversy over player types or anything like that. It's exactly what you'd expect, except a player on Jyväskylä disappearing.
So back to studio we go.
It's just I don't know. So maybe they weren't feeling it. Maybe somebody just randomly dropped server connection. Who knows? So, Sin, all things considered now, as we continue to grasp at any possible consoles overheating in European weather is a potential cause. I mean, I don't know about you, Sin. I don't know about you. I mean, it's a nice day here today. Nothing too crazy, but I don't know. The European heat wave going on, I don't know. Maybe it compares to that California sun. Who's to say?
I don't know, because this California sun right now is absolutely scorching. But we're not too sure. We're trying to get word on kind of what's going on. But I mean, more to the point of kind of this matchup. I mean, I think I as much as HAVU's in that, the driver's seat right now, I still think that they have something to prove here against this it's against Jyväskylä, because I mean, what, they get 2-0'd by Philadelphia, was it? And they were kind of, had struggled in other matchups as well. And it's kind of weird to see them with three regulation losses and an overtime loss at this stage in the season, just over the halfway mark. We oftentimes they end the season without that many losses. So again, I still think it's both of these squads kind of with things to prove here. And this matchup will go a long way to sort of, I think, answer some questions.
HAVU's been vulnerable. I mean, you mentioned it. We saw them get 2-0'd by Philadelphia last week. And earlier on this season, they dropped a game to YMCA. They dropped a game in overtime to Vesapampa. So they have been a vulnerable team at times this season. And it's not often that you see one of our top teams looking all that vulnerable. I mean, you look back to Philadelphia, they're 13-0-1 on the season, with their one loss being an overtime loss to H-Reds. In terms of taking care of those teams that they're expected to beat, they've been able to do that. So again, we'll see if they're able to do so once more. We'll get you another look here at the standings for those, for those that may have missed it here at the start, as we're waiting to see what exactly is going on with these particular teams. And again, the left-hand side of the bracket is where you want to be. We've talked about the big three. We'll talk about Färjestad's struggles at different points in time this season, because a 9-5-2 record, while solid, maybe not exactly what we expected. You have Goons, who have made that really strong surge. I mean, again, we predicted Goons to be a playoff team this season. YMCA, not so much. And don't worry, they'll continue to use that. I mean, call them the Montreal Canadiens of this division, because, people are doubting us. Let's use that as motivation to make things work. And indeed, they are doing just that. But like we talked about, Sin, you look at how close that race is, you're going to have some very strong teams missing out on the postseason this year just due to the strength of competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, the strength of competition just seemingly getting better each and every year. But we'll kind of go back to this matchup here when it comes to Jyväskylä HAVU. I was kind of thinking about when you're talking about who HAVU has dropped games to, and it's been against the teams that have pretty good defenses. I mean, dropping one to YMCA, they've only allowed 30 goals against in 16 games played. Dropped the game to Vesapampa, who have only allowed 22 goals against in 12 games. I mean, these are teams that are pretty good defensively. Now, Jyväskylä has struggled with that this season, but if they could somehow reach into the past a couple seasons ago and kind of find that defensive dynamo that they were, I think they have a chance to, again, really give it to HAVU here. I mean, if you look at like how HAVU has struggled, it's against those teams that can kind of shut things down and throw someone off their game, not allow them to do what they're able to do. Jyväskylä, I mean, now's the time. They're over the halfway point in the season. It's all about catch up. So we'll see if they got the mustard in this case to to do that. Hey, we're running out of things to talk about. Don't expect my game to be good.
We'll see if they relish this opportunity to make up some ground. We should be good to go unless Yoki disconnects again out of nowhere. Time will ultimately tell. Very intrigued. And Sin, I mean, we missed our producer here behind the scenes just mentioned a great point. I mean, perfect time to bring up the Wilhelm Carolina Reaper sauce, and we never did. Always pay attention to your sponsors. You see them there. They're over there. No, they're not. They're over there. Mirroring's the thing. Wilhelm, Kovalan, Lakritzi, via play. We thank you very much. So it's going to be an interesting broadcast today. If this is anything to go off of, it's been a rough start in some regards, but we'll see if we can get this runaway freight train back on track. Game one between HAVU and Jyväskylä, and I'm so excited for the 15 overtimes that we're about to endure.
Of course, yeah. Well, it's not Monday, so we might be free of that. That being said, it is HAVU who did take us to the 5 overtimes, which we will not let them forget at any point over this season, as we never let anyone forget everything. I mean, if you lose in the finals or something, or you get, lost in the semifinals, we have to bring that up as a talking point. There's only, so much, but
That
I mean,
poor
yeah.
dead horse that we constantly beat. Hey, did you guys know H-Reds lost 4-0 in the final last year? Oh, goodness. Well, Sin, we're ready to go at the very least. Action underway. Pay attention to the right-hand side of your screen, though, as well. The matchup of Flyer Kungen and Yoki, both of whom rocking the golden helmets as their team's leading scorer. We're going to see a tripping call against Jyväskylä in near record time as HAVU will go on the man advantage unless they find the back of the net here. They won't. And Sin, yeah, that was maybe the worst possible start to this game. We'll see, though. Maybe if they give up a goal, I'll stand corrected.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, this is going to have to be a huge kill from Jyväskylä, who's, as we mentioned, their special teams has been not so special this season so far, but I kind of like that. Maybe looking for a slap pass off the boards to see if they could catch Yoki, ahead with a head of steam, but didn't quite pan out.
13th out of 16 teams in terms of the penalty kills so far this season are Jyväskylä, but a very strong opening minute to this very early kill attempt. See what HAVU's able to do now, leading it back down the other way, being held up at the line. No space for HAVU whatsoever. 3 minutes on the attack. Nobody could get the puck. I mean, a picture-perfect kill for Jyväskylä here to start this one off. Chance for one more rush to maybe gain the attacking zone, and they finally do. We're back to 5-on-5. Might still have a chance to take advantage, and a big save there. Off the shot, wide open in front was Dominointi. But a better stop by Sandro. And this one goes all the way back down.
Yeah, and so we talk about, I mean, early momentum. It can be very important, and you think with, taking that early penalty might help stifle that, but after such a good penalty kill, they might be able to swing it back in their favor.
Between the legs there, ends up on goal. Sandro with the cover, and we'll see what happens here now. On a big-time face-off, every face-off going to be deemed a big-time face-off when it's in Yip's attacking zone here, expecting HAVU to get the majority of the offensive zone time. We'll see if we're proven wrong, as Jay Toro has a little bit of trouble there. It'll be Yip back in possession for the moment. So trying to work that puck around, and it can cause issues when you have to move the puck that quickly. We've seen that all season long, regardless of the matchup, as Flyer Kungen times it well at the line. Dominointi can't get that shot through. Still fighting for it, though, was Pawanzo. Thrown in front, and again, kicks all the way back to the point. Yoki trying to make the move, and he does. Has to step on the defender, stepping in, and fires wide on the glove side of Sibelius. Maybe that encapsulating what his season has been so far.
Yeah, I mean, just such a dynamic player. We know how good he is. We know how well he can score goals and create space. He did it right there, and then just kind of flubbed it wide right there. Yeah, you said it. Almost mirroring, the results of his season so far.
HAVU with it in the zone, not for long. Great defense there. This one goes all the way back to the HAVU zone for icing. Already halfway through this first period.
Yeah, we've had quite a few faceoffs in the Jyväskylä zone here, so at some point HAVU's going to want to start, punishing them for that if they're going to take icings and stuff like that. But another good win from Antti, and Jyväskylä should be able to clear the zone here.
Need to see that throughout these two games here to increase those chances of success, and that was not what I was talking about. Obviously referring to the face-off. Passes like that certainly won't help the cause here for Jyväskylä. Let's see what they can do. Slowing it down here on the breakout. Trouble for Antti. Can't gain the line. Yoki tried to give chase. Step up here for Nasistelia. Drops it down low. Gets it back. Fakes the slap shot. Chance there on the doorstep. Point blank for Dominointi. Chance there. I mean, Sin, talk about that fake slap shot from Nasistelia. A little bit of a throwback to Shea Theodore last night.
Yeah, and Dominointi, good job to kind of. Yeah, good job to get that loose puck there, and a pretty good forecheck from HAVU as they were sort of dropping back, and it was an in-tight chance, but once again, Yoki almost finding some space up the middle.
It's amazing how quickly he finds space and how dangerous he is on every rush. Sibelius forced to cover that one. We'll have a face-off here in the attacking zone for Yip. Let's see if Antti can win another draw here to get his team some attacking zone time. He does. Shot. That's paddled away by Sibelius. Decent look there by Sile. Let's see what HAVU can do now on this breakout. Trap game in full effect here for Yip, and it works out for the moment at least. Dominointi able to hold this one in. Pawanzo tried to go back to Flyer Kungen. Flicked it off of the stick, and Yip now back in control. Here's Antti trying to lead it down the other way. Good protection there. Cuts back all the way to the point. And again, down low, a trip is called as Indy. His forward progress impeded. It will be Powanzo taking a seat and a decent chance now for the power play to go to work.
Yeah, again, not strong, ranked 13th as well on their power play. But, we talked about if there's ever a time to kind of figure things out, it's right now. But a good early clear from HAVU will stop them from holding that zone.
You can see the face-off numbers there, too. Dominating the draw here in the first period. Have that little bit of extra time in that fast minute to work with, but still the clock will tick down that much faster, and a tough break here is much like when they were on the PK. I mean, power play right now just not able to get set up. Finally gained the zone, at least for the moment. Yoki kicks back to the point. Good quick movement. Pass in front, nearly swept in. Sibelius able to deny the attempt from Antti. Very dangerous play there.
Great puck movement. Just unfortunately, Antti kind of caught on the wrong hand and just had to kind of sweep that backhand. If maybe he'd altered his body just a little bit, or the pass came a second early, he could have maybe tapped that one home on the forehand.
Good chance there for Yoki. Back to the point. Blocked down. We are back. The 5-on-5 here now. Powanzo's out. Chance for one more rush as Flyer Kungan gets it over the line. It's knocked loose. He recovers. Over to Jay Toro. Back again. Good movement. Better defense. 2 seconds to work with. Yoki will wind down the clock. We head to the second period in a goalless affair so far.
Yeah, and shout-outs to Sibelius for that penalty killer trait. The second the penalty kill was over with, all of his skaters got the stamina back. Goalies out there, if you do that, your skaters will love you till the end of days. Such a fun trait to have. But yeah, that being said, I mean, in that period we saw some chances at either end, but it's no one quite figured some things out. We saw a pretty decent chance for Jyväskylä, and I'd say that shot from Dominointi was a pretty good chance for HAVU Gaming. So I'd say, one kind of A-grade chance per team. And other than that, HAVU with some zone time, but what did they do with it? Well, just 2 registered shots. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say an uneventful first, but, still waiting for things to kind of open up here. Which is the team that's going to be willing to sort of take the chances here and, try to take a risk or so to get the opportunities to score. I mean, it's, something's got to give. We've been talking about it, throughout the pregame, and it's almost kind of interesting to see the 6 face-off wins and then still under a minute of time on attack for Jyväskylä. You can see just how good HAVU is at forcing loose pucks.
So here we go, second period just about ready to begin. Again, the first game of 2 between these two clubs. FBK, Färjestad taking on Vesapampa a little bit later on here. This Wednesday broadcast. We'll have information for you a little bit later on as well for our broadcast tomorrow. Same time. It'll be in Finnish, however. So, Sid and I wrapping up our duties for the week and expecting these games to deliver. And so far, Jyväskylä hanging in there, keeping it close, as you would expect. That first goal can go a long way, dictating how this one plays out. They can't keep it in the attacking zone. Jay Toro, a wrecking ball. We make the play on words with the name Toro all the time and pulling a China shop along that left-hand side. HAVU trying to get possession back in their own zone. Yoki wins it free. One-timer deflection bid. Doesn't find its way to the net. Still held in here by Jyväskylä. Big step up. Pass across, knocked loose. Still fighting for it. HAVU have it. Pass up to Flyer Kungan. Toe drag. He's in alone and he hit the post on the shot blocker side. That quickly. HAVU turning defense to offense. Absolutely disgusting. Toe drag move there from the captain, who's back in possession here now. Trying to time it at the line. Feeds it over to Jay Toro, who's knocked off. It'll be Jyväskylä back in control now. Working off that early chance. Here's Yoki again. Spins, throws it in front. Way too much traffic. Another pass there. They've actually got a shot just wide. So yep, still have it. Chance there. Thrown across off a leg. Recovered by HAVU. Big stretch pass. Intercepted well by Sile. But Yip holding on to it for the moment. Trouble there for Ilmari. Jay Toro nearly stepping up and picking that one off clean. At least broke it up. HAVU's in possession now. Flyer Kungan somehow completes that move. Here's Powanzo. The spin, the shot. What a stop by Sandro. Some big saves from the Yip netminder here to keep this one goalless.
Yeah, and we're starting to see things open up a bit, and it starts with both teams sort of getting a bit more aggressive, whether it be in the neutral zone or on the forecheck there. They're starting to kind of step up, looking to read the plays, get some picks, as we saw Jay Toro doing that. And both sides have seen Yoki and Flyer Kungen helping kind of create some havoc there on the forecheck as well, which is, definitely leading to a higher volume of chances here for either team.
HAVU back in on the attack here. Pawanso on the off wing takes the hit there from Sile, but still fighting for it. Dishes back to the point with Nasistelia. D to D over to Jay Toro. He sends it down low. Good quick movement there. Pass in front to Dominointi, though, won't go. Here's Yoki trying to make something happen. Feeds Antti, whose shot is deflected off of the stick of Nasistelia. Ramps up out of play.
Yeah, so again, the sticks of both of these teams just exceptionally good, whether they're using it for defense or offense here. But we'll see if Antti can kind of continue his face-off dominance. Unfortunately, he can't right there, so HAVU will get a chance to clear it and create something of their own.
Passes off the mark. No icing on the call. Let's see what Yip can do. HAVU starting to pressure in the attacking zone a little bit more here following the loss of possession. Jay Toro again, so difficult to deal with on that left-hand side. Yoki able to find Antti down low, can't get the pass back. And layers in defense, collapsing and protecting the slot on point. Here's Dominointi, though, bit of space, tried to find Flyer Kungen. Good defense, though, by Omari. Good movement here from Yip, pass off the mark, no icing here. Yoki nearly made a play on it. It is incredible. He is never out of the play until the play is clearly over. Flyer Kungen tried to shovel one on. Again, good defense from Omari. Sile able to find Yoki. He's tried to sprint his way past Nasistelia off that one, giving the HAVU defender everything he can handle and more in this game so far. Only have 2.5 minutes remaining here in the second period. Very fast pace, but still looking for our opening goal. Spawanzo finds Jay Toro, back for Dominointi. He gets it again off of a pass. Banks off the back as Jay Toro threw that one up from a very weird angle. Sibelius was able to make that save as we hit the final minute here. Here come HAVU once more. Dominointi with a bit of space across, and he scores! Pawanso on the one-timer. His team leading 22nd goal of the year, and HAVU strike in the closing moment of the second.
Yeah, you can almost feel that one building up as HAVU is starting to get their skates moving. They cut in right there, the backdoor feed, but it really started on the initial possession when Nasistelia got the puck back. He circled back, and it was Jay Toro who fed the initial pass to him as they kind of switched positions, which opened up a little bit of the middle as they passed it through there, caught Dominointi as he was splitting the D, crossing the blue line, just a perfectly timed zone entry, and that's really what led to the time and space allowed to send that puck over to Pawanso, give him that opening goal here in the dying moments of the second.
Let's see if Yip can make anything happen here. Final 10 seconds, HAVU thinking the same thing. Flyer Kungen all the way back, Nasistelia, Dominointi back to him, shot and a blocker stop by Sandro. As time expires, HAVU again carrying that lead into the third, and Sin, you got a quick look at the stats there. Certainly deserved.
Yeah, I mean, they have really, at least on paper, been the better team. And as this game has gone on, they're starting to pass that eye test as well. I mean, that was really good play for them. Their pass is exceptionally clean. Their break-in starting to get a bit more clean. And despite Jyväskylä more than doubling in face-off wins, they haven't really been able to turn that in to some of the offense. And I think a lot of them actually came in the defensive zone, which is great. But, again, we talked about it in the pregame. Are they going to be able to transition? Can Sile turn his physicality into offense? Can Jyväskylä turn their defense into offense? So far, it hasn't quite happened yet. And if it doesn't soon, I can see HAVU, walking away with this W.
A lot of pressure right now on Jyväskylä. The give and take. You need a goal. When does the defense start to really become a secondary worry? When do you take those extra chances? As Yoki able to recover this over Nasistelia, still trying to fight through Jay Toro. Able to shut him down at the last moment. His pass off the mark, but on goal. Sandro play this one, flips it up the center where Dominointi is able to catch that one, but a little bit of contact for Pawanso at the line. He's held just offside.
Yeah, actually, I didn't notice the contact over there. I thought he somehow put himself offside with that the toe drag right there. But Not so much, but here comes Yoki again, man. Oh, what always a threat out there. He's just so scary. No matter where he gets that puck, somehow he always seems to find his way past at least one defender.
A little bit of dancing there from Jay Toro. A pile up at the blue line. HAVU will get the puck back in their own zone. See what now Sibelius likes to do. Finds Dominointi up the middle. Good bit of possession there. Here's Flyer Coogan in front. Nearly caught Dominointi on the backhand. Now Sibelius down low. Flyer Coogan's rocket pass into the slot was intercepted. And he gets a loose puck back here. Able to feed Pawanso. Couldn't bide time. Flyer Coogan gets it back, and that one nearly found the back of the net. Now Sibelius holds. One-timer from Jay Toro just wide. He tried to go glove side. Pawanso knocked off. A ton of pressure here from HAVU. Jay Toro's pass in front. Ill-advised. That was intercepted. Jyväskylä on the back foot right now. Can't make any headway here in this fight against one of our top teams. Turnover there and a goal! That simply cannot happen if you're Jyväskylä, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. Puck handed straight to Pawanso. Second goal of the game, 23rd of the year. And a mistake from Sile that he's got to be frustrated over.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? It was several turnovers which even led to that possession in the first place. HAVU, they had Jyväskylä right where they wanted them. They were just forcing turnover after turnover. Jyväskylä trying to kind of hustle to get their offense going, but playing right into the hands of HAVU. Pawansa with the intercept, has a pass in front to Flyer Kunkin, goes for the short side instead, beats Sandro, and it's 2-0 now.
Since the challenge wasn't difficult as it was, an offside call here with 11:23 remaining in regulation. Now a 2-0 lead for HAVU. Again, both goals for Pawanso. Now up to 23 in 19 games entered play today. In sole possession of third place in terms of goal scoring in the Elite Division this season. Coincidentally, it also taken the most amount of shots, so continuing to do well in his return to elite action after sitting out last year. Maybe, just maybe, he was the missing piece for HAVU last season. But back in possession here, Jyväskylä completely stifled through the neutral zone time and time again. Flyer Coogan has it in the half wall. Jay Toro takes a shot from the point, stopped by Sandro. A little bit of rebound trouble there. The defense bails him out as Yoki, again, trying to just speed his way past Nasustelia, who's not having any of it. Pawanso looks to do the same to Sile, and does. Dishes back to the point. Jay Toro again back down low. Great quick movement here from HAVU. See if they can find the lane. Dominointi just not able to get that shot off. And Yip again, an immense amount of trouble on the breakout. Pawanso has it down low. He's on the brace looking for the hat trick. Jay Toro looking at his options. Poked away. Can't be held in by Nasustelia, but time is ticking down. Turnover, shot on, paddled away by Sibelius. One of the rare shots he's faced. It's the end of that first period. HAVU trying to get it out of their own end now. Great stick play from Pawanso there. 5 minutes left in this one. Things are looking dire for Yip. As this one's going to go all the way down. Off the pad, I think Sandro was kind of hoping it was going to go for icing. Ends up hitting him. 4 minutes to play here. Antti, trouble at the line. Gets it over to Sile. In front, big stop there on Yoki. Biggest save of the game for Sibelius there. For 3 minutes. One more rush offside against HAVU, but then it's interesting how we continue to see the clock tick down. On Jyväskylä, the goal-scoring troubles continuing.
Yeah, and they're getting aggressive, and it's looking good at times. They're almost forcing turnovers. Sometimes they are forcing turnovers, but maybe too little, too late. They had to do this, I feel like, a little bit earlier.
This one nearly found its way to Flyer Coogan clean. Loses the foot race. Minute and a half to go. Again, in the first game of this home-and-home between these two clubs. It's the first game of 4 in this broadcast, so the beginning of a long night of action here for us. Chance here. Dominointi tried to go back down low to Pawanso. I'm sure they want him to get that hat trick. Jay Toro on the half wall down to Pawanso, looking to circle out, but nowhere to go. Again, this one all the way back to the HAVU zone. Yippee Voskala, there you go. You got to start taking chances to get possession. They do. This one into the zone. Jay Toro able to make that pass, and just like that, Dominointi all alone on the breakaway. He scores on the backhand, top shelf. 3-0 for HAVU. This one is done and dusted.
Yep, that will just about do it here as the rest of the period kind of becomes a formality there, as you saw Yippee Voskala trying to go for a couple of quick counterattacks twice with passes, but both of the passes ended up looking like dumps as they kind of went to an area where there were no Yippee Voskala skaters. HAVU recovered it, set up what they wanted to do, and in that situation, you said it, Yippee Voskala was starting to get more and more aggressive, more and more desperate. HAVU used that to their advantage, catch Dominointi, in all alone, and he scores it. 24 seconds left, 3-0 HAVU. They will win game 1 here.
Well, with 20 seconds to go, a chance to see here if they can make anything happen. Trying to get a little bit of momentum. That one knocked loose. Yoki going to try to chase it down. Anti's in there. 4 seconds. Yoki again just can't pass it in front. There were 3 HAVU players in front of that pass lane. Yet he still tried it.
Yeah, and 2 of them were down in the L1 as well, so that was kind of like, probably not happening, but you can see how hard HAVU there was working to help get Sibelius that shutout, especially against a team, that he used to be on a couple seasons ago. So nice little, I guess, ego booster there for Sibelius, taking on the former club, getting the shutout against them as well. But HAVU, that's, huge building blocks for them. 3-0 shutout. They played that near picture perfect, despite in the kind of the beginning of the game where they, were sort of struggling in some regard. And Yippee Voskala actually was looking like they could have gained an advantage, but the opportunity was in front of them. Yippee Voskala failed to capitalize. HAVU got the opportunity, capitalized, never looked back. I mean, after they got that lead, all of a sudden, you're playing into their hands, because HAVU's a team where when they have that lead, it's so hard to kind of knock them off. And because when you try to extend those stretch passes, HAVU's dropping back. They're in those lanes. If you try to delay with it, there's Flyer Kungan or Puanso in your face with those ever so dangerous defensive skill sticks. And it could just be so hard to kind of break that siege, so to speak, that HAVU puts you under.
I mean, Sin, what stands out to me right now, that was Sibelius's 9th game of the season. He has 4 shutouts already. An unbelievable pace. Last year, he had 7 shutouts in a full 30-game season, as he was the main man between the pipes when Hanselinho jumped up to forward. So an incredible start to this season for the netminders, for HAVU, for Yippee Voskala. Worst case scenario, you don't walk away with a single point out of that first matchup. The second game coming up in just a matter of moments. Sin and I will set the stage on the flip side of this very, very brief break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Markov tekee maalin! Sebastian jatkaa ja tekee sen maalin!
All right, so there we go. As mentioned, a quick word from our lovely sponsors. We very much thank them for helping make this season what it is. With that, Sin, talking about what this next matchup is going to be and how this next game is going to go. Yippee Voskala now down to 7-9-1 on the season. Just stunning, I think, is really the only way to phrase it at this point for a team that had the expectations. We talked about it, essentially labeling them as a part of the Big Five, really, with FBK, and of course the top 3 that we still have this season as clubs that were almost guaranteed to make the playoffs. I mean, again, you talk about that. 7-9-1. They have already lost more games in regulation this season than they did in all of last season, where they had 8. It's absolutely astonishing, all things considered.
It really is. And I think the season before that, they only had a couple losses total when they got that 1 seed. Yeah, and we're inevitably upset by or I should say eventually upset by FBK there. But I mean, it's kind of since that first season, Jyväskylä has kind of struggled to get back to the form that we saw them at. I mean, whether it's losing Sibelius there or what now, but I mean, again, you couldn't say on paper that, they brought in a bad name. Yoki was ridiculous all last season. Again, it might just be that chemistry issue, but we saw Yoki, a game changer out there, was constantly trying to make things happen. It's just he did, and no one seemed to be on the same page as he did. Even in the defensive zone, we saw that turnover from the Jyväskylä defenseman. Another time, there's a loose puck after it hit off of Sandro off that dump that he was hoping would go wide. Both defensemen sort of backed off from it. That's never a good sign when your defensemen don't know who's going to pick up that puck. Maybe not communicating. It's just kind of, things going from bad to worse for Jyväskylä, and they get shut out against HAVU. It's not looking great for this next game or, for the rest of the season for Jyväskylä.
I mean, you mentioned 2 seasons ago, back in season 10, when Jyväskylä were the top team in the regular season. They lost 2 games in regulation out of 30.
Crazy.
So we're talking about a situation here where if Jyp lose to HAVU in regulation, they would have lost as many games this season as they did in the past 2 years combined.
Yeah. And
they are going to be 18 games into it, I believe, by the end of tonight's broadcast. Again, we labeled this expect the unexpected. You never know what teams are going to rise and what teams are going to fall, and how quickly, I guess, that reality of where you actually stand can kind of hit you, sneak up on you, hit you in the face. And for Jyväskylä, it has been, unfortunately for them, and a very talented team, a very cold dose of reality right now. If there's any benefit, though, let's take a look at, I think if we have it, the most recent results around the league, because we talked about some of the other games that are going on. FBK winning that first game against Kova 9-1. Again, FBK will be in action here in our second matchup of this broadcast. So if there's one victory here for Jyp in defeat, it's that one of the teams, and actually the team directly ahead of them, has struggled as of late. Kova with the losses there. You see the FBK, and of course losing 2 games as well to Poggers. So the opportunity is there, Sin. It's not dire straits. You can still clearly see the life raft. It's right there. It's within distance. But all things considered, your boat's taking on water very, very rapidly. It's time to see if they can, there's so many analogies we could get. Let's see if they can, bail out this boat and, stay afloat right now. I still can't believe they're in this situation. For HAVU, though, you're talking about one of the best teams in it, just being able to clamp down and, once they have a team where they want them, good luck trying to get back into it.
Yeah, that's really what HAVU has kind of always been. They're very consistent in that regard, where if they can execute their system and force teams to do what they want them to do, they're deadly. I mean, perhaps the best team, but oftentimes when they go up against some of those other top teams, they haven't been able to do that. Well, they're doing it right here against Jyväskylä. I mean, they looked kind of rough for them in the beginning, but again, once they got that first goal, it just seemed like a switch was flipped. All of a sudden, Jyväskylä tried playing into them. HAVU countered literally everything that they were trying to do, despite, the couple times that Yoki was able to get in free. But again, he couldn't score. At times, he was still stopped by one or both of the defensemen. Oftentimes, they would both have to be in there, but that's not good. Early turnover.
Wire Kogan denied on the backhand. Jyväskylä took a penalty very early on in that first game and nearly gave up the goal to the captain, who's right back in on the attack. That pass across doesn't go to Palazzo. What a save there that was by Sandro. Remember that one. I mean, Sin, you talked about it. That save percentage might be more indicative of the overall team struggles. Good. But one pass too many. Is Palazzo able to take that one away? Loose puck will be recovered by J. Toro. HAVU with their Dallas Stars alternate-esque jerseys. Big fan of it. See what they're able to do here. Flyer Kungan bides his time. Held on to it for maybe a lot longer than you would have expected. Loses it now, though. Nowhere to go for Jyp. Dominointi able to make the play. Palazzo back over the line. Tried to feed Dominointi again in front. Much better job from Jyp. breaking up these chances as that one's off the skates. Lamare and Sile have had quite a bit of trouble here trying to help get the breakout going, in an offside call here against Yip early on.
Yeah, and Flyer Kungen lays a massive hit in that neutral zone, almost forcing that turnover. I mean, there's just so many little things that the captain of HAVU does that just help his team in that situation. It started, he forced the initial turnover. Oh, as
for Yoki, taken away at the last moment, sir.
Yeah, Yoki, I mean, ever so dangerous, sort of the alter ego there of Flyer Kungen, so to speak. Almost kind of a dangerous stretch pass there, though.
A little risky plays here from HAVU not working out. This pass does, though. Dominointi has a step by just time, and it's just off the tape of Nasustelia. Good movement and a goal! Flyer Kungen from the high slot with a hammering slap shot top shelf. And HAVU do, in fact, strike first yet again.
Yep, covering for Nasustelia, who joined the rush and had that initial chance where just couldn't get the shot away off the cross crease feed, and then it was Flyer Kungen stepping up into his spot, kind of where the defensemen like to go, towards that high slot, shooting back for the far side. No chance for Sandro, and once again, HAVU take the 1-0 lead.
Jyväskylä, worst case scenario here. Big save to start off the game, but really nothing Sandro could do on that last attempt. Space here, though. Antti up the middle. Scores! Talk about making something out of seemingly nothing. Antti, out of nowhere, ends up on a break, and Sin, just like that, we have a tie game.
And that was just a severe breakdown from the HAVU defense. Both defensemen, J-Toro and Nasustelia, way wide on that one, almost as if they weren't expecting that pass up the middle. Both of them caught flat-footed, and Antti just walks in one-on-one with the goaltender, and Sibelius kind of left out to dry right there. We have a tie game, exactly what Jyväskylä needed.
Finally find a way to crack this defense, to get one past this goaltender, looking for another one, although Nasustelia is able to take that away. Let's see what happens here moving forward. If HAVU can get right back in on it, nearly did there. Chance now going down the other way. Sile trying to lead this one into open space. Cuts back along the half wall before dropping it low. Quick give and goes here. Yoki cycling out, hit the post from the side there. Nearly caught Sibelius leaning. Very, very heavy wrist shot of his. 6.5 minutes to play here now. Tied at 1 apiece. Again, a 3-0 final score in that first game for HAVU. Yoki nearly able to walk away with that one. Still fighting for it here. Alonso does a good job to hold on to it. Ultimately turning it over here, though. Pace slowing down a little bit, seeing a lot more of the neutral zone trap. Nasustelia able to recover for HAVU. Quick movement again. There's just no space along the blue line. Jyväskylä, you can tell right now they have no problem turtling up. And a win-back possession that way. Yoki in a foot race for it again. Nasustelia will make the right play at the right time. Alonso trying to hold, back to J-Toro with the point, gets it back, in front, Flyer Kungen. Unsuccessfully. Trying to wheel that one on net. And a trip there, J-Toro's poke check, a little bit off the mark, so Jyväskylä will go to the man advantage if they need it. Sandro to the box. The bench, excuse me. So it's 6-on-5 for the moment. That pass a little bit off, so Sin. Jyväskylä power play here in the final 37 seconds.
Yeah, they were starting to look good, almost kind of starting to seize a little bit of momentum. This power play, if they're able to capitalize on it, that would be huge for them. But unfortunately, losing that face-off right there. If HAVU clear it, which they don't.
As Yoki will chase this one down behind, throws it on. Might hit the side of the net. Sibe may have made a kick save there. Final 7 seconds, again, kept in by Jyväskylä. To the point, intercepted way too easy there for Palazzo, and he let him know it. We hit the second period, sitting 1-1 scoreline.
Yeah, and I was just about to kind of get on HAVU's case right there by not just sending that puck down in the dying seconds. They're looking to kind of counterattack, get some offense there shorthanded. Almost kind of bit them, but yeah, you said it, kind of the ill-advised pass there at the point, easily picked off by Poinso. So nothing comes of it. Both teams with a goal. Both teams with 2 registered shots, kind of a similar story to the first game, at least shots-wise. But this time, Jyväskylä, the slight advantage in time on attack. Probably a lot has to do with that power play at the end. But, I mean, just the low numbers of time on attack really kind of indicative of how much of a neutral zone battle was kind of happening there in that first.
Here we go, second period. Just about ready to begin.
It's only a game. Why you
See what
have to
happens
be
here with
mad?
that power play carryover. Big hit there and a little bounce as well. I think some friendly fire perhaps. Let's see what Yip can do. And unfortunately, the answer's not much. An early offside call.
Yeah, it's never a good thing when you're going offsides on your power play with less men there to patrol the blue line. It can, sort of indicating at some miscommunications or people just trying to jump. And right there again, Sile maybe looking to get the puck pickup and go in with a head of steam, but actually just completely misses it. And Jyväskylä here, we can kind of see why their power play has been struggling. If this is sort of what they look like on a normal situation, just again going off sides, just kind of not even sure what they want to do on the break-ins. And well, this one's pretty much done. 2 seconds left. If HAVU win this, they have a chance to hit the man coming out of the box.
And both teams really have had trouble on the power play. Excellent blue line defense. Here's Flyer Kungan with a step between the legs. Dominointi able to recover it, at least for the moment. Or it's stripped away. Again, HAVU striking first in this one. Of course, surrendering the tying goal 2 minutes later, if that. Jay Toro wheels, couple of quick passes over to Polanco on his off wing. Dominointi dishes back to the point and again gets it back down low. Good movement here. Now Sibelius the one-timer. Flyer Kungan on the doorstep as well. Tremendous work here from HAVU. Flyer Kungan's shot broken up, still fighting for it. Great poke check by Nasu to keep it alive. Loose puck down low. Flyer Kungan recovers. Incredible pressure from HAVU here. Dish back to the point. Jay Toro looking. One-timer and he scores! Incredible vision, a better shot. Dominointi makes it 2-1 to HAVU.
And HAVU is just so good when they get that cycle established, and they're good at opening up those higher shots because their down low cycle is so deadly, and you have to respect that they're, those in tight one-timers in front of the net, and then all of a sudden they kind of sneak it to the outside. Jay Toro looking like he's gonna shoot, and then at the last minute threads the path through to Dominointi, who capitalizes on the one-timer, scored from a similar location as the other one. Different pass as that actually made it happen, but nonetheless, it's 2-1 for HAVU. That was, just such a pretty offensive zone possession by them.
So we march on here now. HAVU back in control. Again, held that lead for a very short amount of time, and we'll have a chance to add to it here, Sin. A penalty against Jyväskylä. It's Antti taking a seat.
Yeah, so we'll see who wins this face-off here.
HAVU coming up with it. Flyer Kungan toe drags for that little bit of space. Stelia keeps it in. Again, the quick movement from HAVU. We didn't get to see too much of it against Philadelphia, but it is on full display here. But an unlucky bounce, because Nasu Stelia couldn't handle it, and it goes all the way down.
Yeah, it was good puck movement there. It went to a guy who really didn't have that one time. Tried to keep the cycle alive, and you said it, just kind of an unfortunate bounce killed it.
Down low, Polanco across, broken up. Flyer Kungan, the snipe attempts. Stopped down there by Sandro. Still alive for the moment. 15 seconds to go on the man advantage, and Yip will survive. Sending that one all the way down. We are back to 5-on-5, so dodging a bullet. Again, how many times can you play with fire before you get burned, especially with Yoki out there, who strips it away. One man to beat. Spins shot stopped by Sibelius. Again, how many times can you play with fire before you get burned? Here's Flyer Kungan down the other way. Spins, tried to get it over to Dominointi. Just too much traffic. Here comes Yoki again. Holding it now. Good movement. That shot might have found a way through, but not to the back of the net. Sile gets it down low for Indy. Back to him. Getting that pass just off the mark. Sile knew the pressure was coming. Chance here. Powanzo, good protection. Dominoiti. Find Jay Toro. Chance down low for Powanzo. Nearly snuck it to the short side. The action picking up here with just over 6 minutes to play here in the second. Jyväskylä will bring it down low. Broken up. Ilmari still going to try to fight for it, but HAVU dropped below the goal line and look to settle it down. Big sauce pass there. Here's Powanzo. Has a step on the defense. Tries to get it across for Flyer Coogan, who somehow didn't find the back of the net on that one. He still has it. Gets it back again. Great movement with Dominoiti. This is the HAVU squad you'd expect to see. They are flying right now. Jyväskylä again just trying to hit them on the counterattack. Can you survive the pressure and make something happen down the other way? Big hit by Jay Toro there. Absolutely ran him over. But an offside call with 2:13 to play.
Yeah, it looked like he actually took a couple players out of the play right there at that massive hit. It looks like someone was stumbling over, I guess, the corpse of someone else, but unfortunately they go offsides. They're not able to turn that into a counterattack, but yeah, we'll see if they can get that down low cycle established. I mean, you were wondering, if you were wondering why they're able to get some of those high slot one-timers, well, you just kind of saw that with that last down low cycle. They had 2 quick passes, which led to a couple chances early on. I think Flyer Coogan on that first one actually hit the post. I thought I heard that audio coming through. So, I mean, that close to extending this lead for HAVU.
One final rush slap shot from Powanzo. Nearly picked up the rebound. 4 seconds here. Powanzo down low. That one off the half wall. That will do it. So a 2-1 HAVU lead. Heading into the third, a good place to be, Sid.
Yeah, and if you're Jyväskylä, well, you have solved Sibelius. You do have that goal. You've gotten Yoki in on him a couple times. Just hasn't been able to capitalize. And it's just kind of crazy. At some point, you expect Yoki to score a goal here. He's getting, so many at least partial chances where they're, he is covered a little bit. He's able to dance, make something happen, get a shot away at least. So that's a positive, but the negatives for Jyväskylä seemingly still kind of outweighing them. I mean, they're not able to kind of counteract the HAVU cycle when they get set up. They're not able to sort of deal with the aggression and the turnovers that HAVU are able to force. It's just such an uphill battle for Jyväskylä, and if you're HAVU, I mean, you're continuing to snowball here. When you have those leads, they just keep snowballing. They're able to open things up. The one-timers that they're able to find, just the shots coming out from howitzers. And Sandro, I can't really fault him for any goal that has gone in against him in this series. It's just, what can you do here against the HAVU team who is really seeming to be clicking and getting better as the season and series goes on.
So a huge third period here for Jyväskylä, maybe the biggest of the season, in desperate need of walking away with some points today. Again, it's been a season of struggling for them. Trying to see if they can overcome some of those struggles, but passes like that aren't necessarily helping the long term, but they've certainly had their chances. Would not be surprising. See them get another one here. Just 1 goal, though, through 5 periods of play against HAVU here so far. Big bit of contact there. Again, just not able to hold the line or HAVU.
Yeah, good attempt right there. Just someone went, just one step off, but that Flyer Coogan moved the windmill through the middle, trying to create some space right there. Would have looked great had it worked, but unfortunately for them, face off in the neutral zone. Massive hit coming out from Sile. Talked about his physical play a bit in the Keys, and wow, we saw it come out right there.
Big stretch pass, though, for Dominoiti. Has the chance, drops back. Jay Toro to Nasistelia, broken up, though, by the traffic in front. Great job there, getting the stick down. Powanzo holding, finds Dominoiti, who finds the back of the nets. His second of the game. And HAVU take a 3-1 lead. What a phenomenal play by Powanzo. What a day he's had.
Yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding right there. That time, I mean, we talked about it so much. HAVU forcing turnovers. This is their bread and butter. They force that turnover on the forecheck, down low cycle, the short side shot right there from Dominoiti, who tries to go in, creates a bit of contact, then backs off creating space. Such a little move, but it gives him the space necessary to get that shot away and to make the passing lane work. Just tremendous play right there from HAVU. They have a 2-goal lead because of it. A bit of a interesting pass right there. Almost leads to a turnover for Jyväskylä.
Dominointi looking to get a step on the defense. What a pass. Nearly got it back from Palazzo. Yoki. Dangerous at the line. Flyer Coogan still fighting for it here. Banks it off the back of the net. Finds Palazzo. What incredible movement, but it's picked off and ultimately recovered. Could have been Yoki in on the breakaway there. Flyer Coogan loses it as he crosses the line. 13 minutes to work with here now for Jyväskylä to try and salvage something, anything, out of this matchup with HAVU. 12 minutes to go and down 3-1.
Man, every whistle, every stoppage seemingly benefiting HAVU just a bit more. If you're Jyväskylä, you kind of want to keep things going, get HAVU in a situation where perhaps you can catch them off guard, but you see them, they're all seemingly dropping back off the faceoff, not wanting to get caught out. However,
decent little chance there. Sibelius able to kick that one away. So it's kind of been the theme for Jyväskylä, though, as of late. It's been those quick hit opportunities and just not able to get those, sustained secondary chances in front when they've been there.
Yeah, and it was a mistake from HAVU coming out that they didn't make them pay for. Will they do it here? We'll see.
Keep it alive at the very least. Circling around. Great defense by Jay Toros. Palazzo, smart pass. Maintained possession and nearly found Flyer Coogan. It's a close offside call.
Yeah, he was cutting across the ice and would have gotten enough speed horizontally right there to be able to kind of carry it into that zone. Maybe have just a step needed to kind of take a defenseman out and either feed that pass across, but didn't quite happen there as Jyväskylä wins the face-off, but unable to sustain possession. I mean, how many times we've kind of told that story in this series?
Absolutely gigantic hit, Flyer Coogan. And the good thing is, with all the championship money he's won here in the elite division, he can afford some proper medical care after that one. At least as long as he doesn't move to the States, he can afford proper medical care. It might be at his price point if he does move over here. That's it. It's the pass doesn't find a way through. And yep, just not able to gain possession here. Clean, 6:25 to go. Sim, we're going to see a timeout from Jyväskylä. And this is make or break time.
Yep, they need a goal as soon as possible. The longer you wait against HAVU, the worse it gets. The more you have to get aggressive, which, as we talked about, feeds into their game. And look at that twisting and turning. Oh, they're enjoying pointing that one out. It almost looks like his legs are on the wrong side right there, which they may in fact be.
You mean you can't invert your knees?
Apparently not. I mean, one day, science has not gotten that far, but one day,
He's double jointed, Sid. I mean, come on. It's just one of those things that makes you laugh, that's all. We march on here. Under 6 minutes to play. HAVU again winning that first game 3-0 for those of you just joining us. And again, upon the conclusion of this game, we have two more coming up. Färjestad and Vesapampa going head-to-head. Let's get back in control here. Let's see what they can do. They desperately need a goal. Can they find it? Indy's pass was off the mark. One back by Sile. Yoki shot, glove stop by Sibelius, and a big save there.
Yeah, I like that coming out from Yoki. He's just trying different looks instead of kind of taking it to the net or looking for the pass. He just decides to blast it, and Sibelius was in decent position, but we've seen those go in on that short side before as the stretch pass to Buonto almost works and sends him forward, but it in fact goes down for an icing. So another chance here for Jyväskylä. Win this face-off, get a quick one. They desperately need a goal here, I'd say, before the 2-minute mark if they really want a serious chance at tying this one up.
Can't win the draw, though. Dominointi successful. Might have a chance there. What a pass from Flyer Coogan. One-on-one, scores! And dives through the legs of his captain. In celebration, Sin Dominointi can make it happen that fast. Talk about a power forward style of play. The hard drive to the net. Gets the hat trick. 3 unanswered goals for him in this one. And that'll put a cap. Yip's hopes in this, quick 2-game series.
Yeah, and that was just a huge. He won the face-off initially, then gets up the ice, gets the pass, and you said it went with the power move, and it almost seemed like the defender there thought he might try to cut to the middle earlier, but he just said, nope, I'm going straight in, gets just a half step. And he's able to cut back to that forehand and score. Looking for more right there as Auntie says no and gets that puck back. A trip, but again, will just be too little too late.
Stop there by Sibelius on Seeley. It'll be now Sestelia who takes the seats. So a chance here for Yip to maybe get a goal back. 1:09 to go on the clock. Honestly, a little bit surprised you just don't take Sandro out at this rate. I mean, why not? I mean, perhaps thinking about goal differential in terms of a negative value instead of a positive, potentially. They do gain the line here. Seeley has it. Good quick movement here. Empty net now for Jyväskylä. Better late than never. Good movement. What a goal there. Fantastic work from Jyväskylä on the power play. Antti has his second goal of the game. It's now 4-2.
Yeah, now's the point where you wish that penalty was a 5-er here. With the slow minute, you could still be with the man advantage. That being said, still some time, but to get 2, I don't know if I see it happening. Nonetheless, that was a beautiful play right there as the HAVU. Whoa, wait a second. With the turnover. They're going to
have another one. They pull the goalie immediately as well. It's going to be Powanzo taking a seat with just under 29 seconds to go. And maybe, just maybe, Jyväskylä can make something happen here. Big time face-off on the 6-on-4 now. Dominoiti wins the draw, but they can't clear. Seeley has it poked loose. Flyer Coogan will bring it down and put it home. This one is done. 5-2. Sin, what a play by the captain.
Yeah, again, how many times am I going to say it? Well, I'm going to say it one more time. The defensive skill stick of Flyer Coogan, perhaps the best in the ECL Elite. He forces a turnover there and ices the game. There's no other way to say it. That was a rough kind of penalty to take. It gave Jyväskylä hope. It was initially a one face-off by Dominoiti, which Jyväskylä got possession back. The pass over to Seeley. Well read enough by Flyer Coogan that he's able to knock it loose. There wasn't a whole lot of time for Seeley. Maybe enough to make a play, but he just wasn't able to. As Jay Toro in on the attack.
Good chance there. Final 6 seconds. HAVU will pull off the double. They secure all 4 points to continue their campaign at taking the regular season crown. And for Jyväskylä, the struggles continue this year. Again, they have now equaled their regulation loss total in this season with 10. That is as many as they had over the last 2 seasons combined. The fall from Grayson has it hasn't been smooth.
No, it's been swift and it's abrupt. Any adjective that you can throw in there, it just very, very unfortunate for Jyväskylä, and I'm sure not what they thought would be happening. And at this point, it's just becoming a bit of a mental game too. It's just what's going on here? Can we figure this out? And it just seems like they haven't really been able to get an answer. Once again, HAVU, the better chances, the more time on attack, the more registered shots. Face-off battle closer in that one. Jyväskylä did capitalize on the power play, which is a bit of a positive maybe that they could take away from this. But I mean, they're at the point in the season where the little the mental victories and the building blocks, I mean, you don't want those anymore. You want wins. They failed to pick up even a single point here against HAVU, and their season continues to kind of go from bad to worse, snowballing, spiraling out of control here. And HAVU, they're seeming to kind of keep the train rolling and getting better as the season goes on, which is what you want to see. And I gotta say, that one was kind of the prototypical HAVU game that we like to see. The strong defense, the great counterattacks, the incredible turnovers force that allows them to get the down-low cycle. They score in the down-low cycle or they kick it back up top. We're seeing that. The one breakdown there where Antti got in all alone, that was definitely something that you don't often see from HAVU. Just both defensive kind of getting caught flat-footed. But yeah, I mean, we're getting another look at that Dominoiti goal as well. Just, that high slot one-timer, which, again, comes from the pressure that they established down low. And this is what I'm talking about. I wonder if we're going to get a look at it from that Dominointi perspective. I don't think we do, but he kind of went in tight initially. And then you can see him right there backing off from Sile and Ilmari, which created that amount of space where he could at least get that shot off and is able to beat him right there. But yeah, Dominointi on that one too. You said it. I mean, no better call than Tugi, man. The power move to the net. What a goal right there, and sliding through the legs of Flyer Kungen, which they are sure to show us right there. It's always fun when you're able to do that as the goal scorer.
I mean, Sin, we mentioned it here. You look at someone like Dominointi in the game that he was able to have. He entered scoring today, 10th in the league, 32 points in 14 games. Had himself a marvelous performance today. And I think for HAVU as well, that's the type of performance, you look back to last week where we had the biggie, right? Our version of El Clasico when you have Philadelphia and HAVU, and just how dominant Philadelphia were in that matchup. Granted, for HAVU, there were some late changes to the lineup, but I think you see that matchup. And I almost wish the people that were calling out HAVU, that might not check into every broadcast and said, man, are these guys really even that good? I think you saw today how good a HAVU still is. At this stage, they still absolutely sit atop close to the top of championship favorites this season, to say the least. With that, though, everybody, again, we thank you for joining us for the first half of this presentation. We'll be back after a brief intermission with our second matchup of the day. It is Färjestad, FBK. They'll be taking on Vesapampa in a home-and-home set. We hope you stick with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes to set the stage for those two games.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Markov tekee maalin! Sebastian jatkaa ja tekee sen maalin!
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.
All right, everybody, we are back. Apologies for the delays here. Something that doesn't often happen that we have to deal with sometimes are circumstances out of the players' control. So while we were originally set to see our second matchup of this broadcast between Färjestad and Vesapampa, we have learned due to apparently widespread internet outages going on right now in Sweden. Unfortunately, we are going to have to postpone the back half of this broadcast and what would have been an interesting set of games, to be honest. Vesapampa, as it stood, we're going to have 3 different changes, I do believe, to their lineup, only to then have further changes to their lineups because of internet outages, and now further internet outages have prevented that third iteration of the lineup from being able to perform. So again, a situation completely out of the team's hands means that unfortunately we will not be able to bring this second series here to you. I do implore you all to pay attention to the social media side of things, NHLgamer.com as well, for all the information that you are going to need in regards to what is going to happen here with these particular games. We will shout out as well, tomorrow's broadcast should be going on as scheduled. Again, that will be in Finnish as we have Poggers taking on Sawo Esports, and H-Reds will hopefully be taking on Vesapampa, all things considered. So fingers crossed for Arttu and Julius tomorrow that they have a little bit better luck in covering Vesapampa games. So Sin, it's a shame ultimately that this happens this way, but there's only so much we can do.
Yeah, I mean, again, circumstances just completely out of our control. And I mean, you said it best with Vesapampa. They already had subs. They had to find more subs. And at this point, they're simply out of subs. I mean, with the internet issues happening, they don't have anyone else who could step in. So unfortunately, we're going to have to step inside in that case, which is, as we said, a huge shame because these two teams, as close as they are, kind of in the standings, both of them fighting for the playoff points. Vesapampa with game in hands. This was such a huge series. And unfortunate that we don't get to cover it now, but we will be rescheduling those games. They will get played. The show goes on, so to speak.
That it does. It's a shame we won't be able to cover Thunborg's return to Vesapampa, but hey, at the end of the day, hopefully we'll see Vesapampa on broadcast again very soon. So again, NHLgamer.com for all the information that you need to follow along with everything that's gone on here today. We do thank you for sticking with us. Again, we will be back tomorrow. Of course, as always, you can check out Sin on Twitter at SinFTWProd, and on YouTube at Sin for the Win Productions. I am everywhere you could possibly want to find me at Tugi24. And again, our apologies. We hope to see you all tomorrow in the finished broadcast. Sin and I will be back this upcoming Monday, though. We hope to see you then. Have a good night, everybody. You're on break a little bit earlier than expected.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Markov tekee maalin! Sebastian jatkaa ja tekee sen maalin!
Wilhelm vie nakkikioskille kotikatsomossa.